They're pathetic fuckers that want to keep killing our children. They could have blood from children spattered all over their faces and they wouldn't take action because they'll still see those dollar signs.
Are you exhausted?
I'm beyond exhausted.
Is it energizing, this exhaustion? Is it an energizing exhaustion?
Yeah, it's just as energizing as it is exhausting at this point. I get to a certain point where I get so tired that I just keep going. It creates a positive feedback loop in some ways, where the more stress and work that I put on me, the more work and stress that I can deal with.
I think what like really strikes me is that like you guys are obviously doing a lot of work and like a really good job of doing it, but at the same time I'm always in the back of my mind it's like you guys are kids and there are like adults that should be doing, like, do you guys ever think like why the fuck are we the ones who are doing this?
Well, at this point it's like when your old ass parents like, I don't know how to send an iMessage, and you're just like, give me the fucking phone, and you take it and you're like, okay, let me handle it, and you get it done in 1 second. Sadly, that's what we have to do with our government because our parents don't know how to use a fucking democracy, so we have to. It just makes me think what sick fuckers are out there that want to continue to sell more guns, murder more children, and honestly just get reelected. What type of person are you when you want to see more fucking money than children's lives? What type of shitty person does that?
And like there's this whole, I mean, the way that they're talking about it now, the way Rick Scott has been talking about it is like, when the shooter arrives, we need a metal detector and a guard.
Point, with Rick Scott, it's like, when I get elected to Senate, we're not going to let that fucking happen, and you guys better not either. Implement all of these amazing things. Let me make sure I do it right before my election for Senate when I try calling out Bill Nelson. He's turning this political.
So do you see that as opportunistic? I mean, he's
it's absolutely opportunistic. He does not give a fuck about these kids' lives at all. He only cares about his re-election. That's why this stuff is being implemented in a year, not today.
What is striking to me about this is that you guys seem to have such mastery of the internet in a way that I feel like, I mean, literally any politician pretty much can't even approach it.
And that's the great thing about it, because those fuckers aren't going to get reelected.
But on the internet, they're on your turf, essentially. Like, this is the way I think about it. But like, you actually have to take that turf and take it to theirs, which is like making laws happen and getting people elected, or making sure people don't get elected.
I mean, when you start hearing from your political aides that there's a shitload of angry future voters, you start to worry a little bit.
Unless your political aides are the ones who are telling people that they're crisis actors, like...
Yeah, I'd love to meet that. Hey, if you're out there, fuck you.
But where your turf meets theirs is that's actually a great point. Like the world of InfoWars and 4chan and Mike Cernovich and like
Reddit
and the conspiracy theory, like the dark underbelly of the internet, is actually where you guys are met in some way.
So honestly, it's been a great thing because people are becoming more critical thinkers and becoming more politically active as a result. It's also been great advertising for me in terms of acting, because I don't give a shit what people say about me, but they've quadrupled my Twitter following and they've done a great job of that.
But on that stuff, like, I mean, that doesn't, yes, it's making people's critical thinking better, but then you've got like Donald Trump Jr.
And you have the spreading of false news, but you also have the spreading of the correct ideals and people taking action. And that's what really matters. I don't care if they can say as many lies as they want about me, but if people are becoming more politically active regardless of if they're a Democrat or Republican, that's a great thing.
So in terms of regulating guns, are you more in support of regulating certain types of guns or certain people's access to guns?
Well, honestly, it's all right that people are buying more guns. I just care that they're being safe individuals and they can practice their Second Amendment rights all they want. I don't give a fuck about that. I just want to make sure that a crazy-ass individual doesn't get an AR-15 or any weapon at all.
Okay, so play this out for me. Let's say you can get a law passed, one federal law. What is it? Like, what does it look like? What is the first thing, the strongest first thing that you do?
An absolute, if you have a history of mental illness, our policymakers need to define that, because I'm not going to. I'm fucking 17. I shouldn't have to.
Right.
I shouldn't have to be talking about these policy questions, but if I was to see something, I would like to see a 10% tax on all firearm sales. I would like to see the federal age of gun ownership and possession raised to 21. I would like to see a universal background check implemented. And I would like to see more mental health care spending to ensure that people like the shooter at Stoneman Douglas are not able to get these guns. Because the shooter at Douglas was somebody that, honestly, they needed help. That's really what they needed.
How do you build a legion of people to do this? I mean, clearly, like, you've got internet activists, you've got people who are following you on Twitter.
The legion of people is just these children that are stepping up and becoming leaders with their parents behind them. As sad as that is, that's how it's going.
What comes next?
Literally any action is what comes next. Just standing up and saying, fuck no. We don't want to see any more of our friends be murdered. We don't want to have our kids prepare for school shootings in the future. We've grown up around Columbine. We've grown up through the recession. We've grown up with 9/11. We've grown up in this police state. We know what it's like to be heavily regulated. And we've seen that oftentimes it can be a very contentious topic, but it's something that we have to work together on, and something that we need to come together as Americans, not as Democrats or Republicans on, but as Americans, and realize this is our life, and these are children.